Diggs just got the fucking paycheck. Like, fucking man up. It's a team sport.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
He's not looking at it that way. He was bitching strictly about targets last year, and if D-Hop comes in, it's going to take away from him. Gabe Davis is still going to get some. Stephon Diggs is going to get in his own head. We're going to see a walk out in the middle of some Antonio Brown type shit, taking his uniform and pads off in the end zone on the sideline before he storms out.
That's been his memo. He was the same way in Minnesota when he had a prime Adam Thielen. He quit. Yeah. I don't know, he didn't quit on the team, but he said, "I'm done. Get me out of here after the season." So, we've seen this. It's been his memo.
And especially if the Bills struggle through the first half of the season, I don't think it's out of line to think that a trade is coming for Stephon Diggs.
All About the Balls podcast
with Mark Davis, Chris Gemeinhart, Luke Rule, and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Hello and welcome to this AFC East Division Breakdown, and congratulations to Wyndham Clark on winning the U.S. Open and the Golf Tour episode of All About the Balls podcast. I'm your host, Mark Davis, excited as always, coming off a wonderful Father's Day weekend as I hit the golf links, joined alongside, as always, a full squad, Chris Gemeinhart, Luke Rule, and the always wonderful Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Chris, how was your first Father's Day as a two-time dad?
Hey, Father's Day was amazing. Got to spend it with the kids, spend it with the wife. They spoiled me. It was a great day.
And Luke, I'm not sure how many years you're running on doggy dad, but how was your Father's Day as a doggy dad?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good day. You know, dog dads matter too. So, I don't know. We went out to Nashville, got a little lunch, did some Costco shopping, and that's the way we spend it. You know, spend that money.
That is the new hashtag DDM, doggy dads matter.
Yeah.
Doc, how was your last day as a one-time kid Father's Day?
Oh, real good, man. Real good. Woke up, took the baby not the baby, I guess, anymore. She's always going to be my baby, but took her to this like Sesame Street amusement park, had an absolute blast out there. She loved it. Saw Elmo and everybody else that I don't remember because I haven't watched the show since I was like 3. But she loved it. Great time. Met up with a friend. Just a great Father's Day to spend it with the family.
Well, I'm glad to hear that all you guys had a great Father's Day. I said, I spent it on the golf course. Had a great front nine. Back nine usually kicks my ass, and it's what it did. Didn't fail me. But, hey, we have a great show, boys. We're going to, like I said, talk about the AFC East as we dive into our second episode of this 8-episode series. We're also going to talk a little NBA once again. Bradley Beal and Draymond Green made some headlines. We're going to finally dive into that Conor McGregor tease that we had going out of the last episode, and just dive into a little golf as me and the golf pro over there, Luke Rule, will dive into some U.S. Open. But with that being said, boys, Luke brought up a good point we should flip-flop NFC, AFC every episode so we're not stuck on one conference. We're going to dive into probably one of the more entertaining divisions, in my opinion, the AFC East, which includes those Jets, Jets, the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the 3-time reigning AFC champion, the Buffalo Bills. And Doc, speaking of those Jets, they probably had one of the bigger storylines in the offseason as they finally acquired a legendary quarterback, a guy you know so much about, as he literally is the Chicago Bears' daddy, Aaron Rodgers. Is this the year that the Jets finally make it back to the Super Bowl? Does Aaron Rodgers lead the boys to the Super Bowl?
I'm not proud to agree with you on him owning the Bears. It's been a very rough tenure with him being in Green Bay, but those days of the nightmare are finally over. I think it's a phenomenal pickup for the Jets. I think it's obviously better than a Wilson quarterback. I mean, honestly, I'm a better quarterback than a Wilson quarterback, if I can be real with you. But no, I don't think Aaron Rodgers quite lifts them to Super Bowl. I don't know. I think maybe a couple more pieces, maybe some solid, like legitimate pieces. Allen Lazard, I think it's a good pickup for him to add a receiver, but I don't think it's like it's going to make the world. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers will bring to the Super Bowl this year.
Chris, you leading with Doc on that one. You think that, I know we're talking a little off here. Do you think it's kind of we're overhyping the Jets a little bit, that, you know, we need to see what they're going to do first? They do have a tough schedule, which we're going to dive into that a little bit. But do you think it's Super Bowl or not this year for the Jets?
I mean, look, the MVP quarterback, he's gonna definitely help the Jets go deep in the playoffs, but they're in such a bad position with their schedule this year, and then also being such a AFC that they're not going to be able to go to the Super Bowl with Daddy Pat Mahomes in that division or
And
conference.
Luke, not just Aaron Rodgers, a guy that you had on your fantasy roster last year. Hopefully, maybe they take the handcuffs off him. Maybe they let him run wild right away. Brees Hall, you think that could take the load off Aaron Rodgers and make that offense more balanced, where that offense with that great defense they have can start to actually take them deep into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think they're going to ease Brees Hall in to getting his full like first team reps for like the first couple games. They got Michael Carter over there too, also another solid running back. But I don't see the Jets making the Super Bowl this year. I think they'll be competitive in the AFC, but I don't think it does enough. There's too many talented teams in the AFC to bet on the Jets, I think.
Honestly, boys, I'm going to have to disagree. I do think the Jets, I mean, I know they, like I said, we have that brutal schedule, but I think they can overcome it. I think that Aaron Rodgers is good enough still to lead the Jets far in the playoffs. We're going to talk about the Bills. I think the window is slowly closing, which I hate to say it because I love Josh Allen, and I'm not sold on Tua and Patriots. We've shit on them all offseason. I just think the Jets, they're in that spot to have the best offense in the league. I'm not saying they are, but they're one of the better offenses. I like what they're doing. Like Luke said, Michael Carter, Brees Hall, they added Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb. I mean, I know their chemistry with Aaron Rodgers is better, but they have him with Garrett Wilson, McKill Hardman as well. So the Jets are going to have talent there. They are slacking on the offense or on the tight end position, but with those weapons and if Brees Hall can be healthy, you can't stack the box against Brees Hall, otherwise he's going to pick you apart. And then when you do that, then it's play action for Aaron Rodgers. You know he loves that play action. Can this team be the best offense in the league, boys?
Well, before we dive into that, let's go back a second, all right? Because you said that you got to disagree and that they can do a late playoff run. When you say you disagree, are you saying that they are a Super Bowl team?
I think right now, if you actually look at it,
That's the question.
I'm going to break it down real quick. I think the problem is we always do this to the Chiefs. At least I always do. I love Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, but they don't have offensive firepower outside that. They don't have that defense that should win the Super Bowl, but they still find a way to do it.
But while a lot of targets still go to Kelce, Mahomes still finds his man downfield. It don't matter who it is.
Jets defense can match with their offense, though. I think the Jets have one of the better defenses in the league, which is why it's going to help. It's not like the Packers where they have a shit defense and it's all Aaron Rodgers or nothing. And I don't trust the Bills this year. I don't trust the Dolphins. And the Bengals, I think, are the other team that can – I think it's going to come down to Bengals-Jets this year. That's who it's going to be, the top two teams in the AFC. I think they're the more completed team, especially on the offensive side. You can't count out Mahomes. I agree. You can't count out Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in the league, and he's always going to be there when it comes to it. I think the Jets are set up in a better position right now for a 1-year, 2-year window to win a Super Bowl. That's what I think. I just think the Jets are more complete at the moment.
I might have given this man the Tom Brady treatment in Tampa Bay.
Oh, I mean, it worked for Brady. He came into a position that they already had the weapons there with Godwin and Evans. They did add a little bit more to it with Gronk.
Those were significantly different weapons.
I mean, Garrett Wilson's rookie of the year. He's a lot younger. I mean, I think he's a beast. Yeah, I know Alan Lazard's not Chris Godwin, but I think he's really good. I think he's very underrated. I think it's also going to shine having, Randall Cobb, which you have chemistry that man seems to get first down to first down, and you have speed with Hardman who can take the top off the defense. So, and then you have Brees Hall. So you have a run game with Michael Carter. So that's why they just have more pieces to me. I think they're ready to compete right away. They had 7 wins with Zach Wilson and Mike White. So
yeah, I agree. They're ready to compete. They're definitely. I think that they have all the potential to take the playoffs or make the playoffs. But I don't see them as a Super Bowl team. I just don't.
I don't see them making it far into the playoffs.
Maybe a first round win.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But that's the thing is the whole AFC East has a tough schedule. So I think with that, I trust Aaron Rodgers more than I trust Tua and Mac Jones. Definitely. Like I said, the Bills were going to talk why. I'm not so long when we get to them. But it's just, I think they're going to have one of the better offenses in the league with that great defense who was 4th in scoring and yards per game. So the defense won't be the problem. And the offense should jump up from 25th and 29th in their respective categories. So, I mean, when you have Rodgers, it's just going to be a lot different than Zach Wilson, and it's a lot smarter quarterback out there, way better thrower, And I think a better runner, too. He knows when to scramble, when not to scramble.
Hey, Denver thought the same thing with Russell Wilson.
I was never sold on Russell Wilson. I thought Russell Wilson was overrated from the jump. He was carried by a great defense, and when he had no defense, the man couldn't get the job done. So we've seen Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, I trust Rodgers a lot. I trust Rodgers way more than I could trust Russell Wilson any day of the week.
I agree with that.
And with that, though, can they have the best offense, Chris?
I don't think they have the best offense in the AFC. I mean, you got Garrett Wilson. Of course, he was Rookie of the Year last year. I mean, Breece Hall, what's his constraints going to be coming back? Is he going to be able to do what Dalvin Cook did and come back from the ACL tear and outperform like he did? Or is he going to pull a Saquon Barkley and come back and not perform like he did before? I mean, the run game's questionable. I mean, Garrett Wilson, that's clearly your wide receiver one. And then behind him, you have Lazard. What's Lazard going to do? And then you got to question chemistry. I mean, of course, it's going to come into the offseason, them building their chemistry together, but is that going to be able to flow into week one, into this toughest schedule that they have?
Yeah, and with that being said,
I mean, you already have established people like Joe Burrow, Jamar, then you got Lamar, run game, then you got fucking, who did I not mention, Bills and Stephon Diggs. I mean, we'll dig into that later on, but then you have Kelsey. I mean, they had who was their wide receiver one last year? Juju, and they won the Super Bowl.
Like, they got rid of him.
They don't need wide receivers. Patty Mahomes knows what to do. I mean, Kelsey Mahomes can go out there, not Kelsey Mahomes, but Travis Kelsey can go out there and have 5 guys covering him, and he's going to come down with a touchdown.
No, and I agree. That's why it's hard to count him out. But with that, the expectations, I was saying, I know, like I said, I'm maybe a little off with the last episode, is with the quarterback difference, I have them at 11.5. So, we'll have the schedule pulled up in 1 second, but I think that's a good starting line for the Jets and almost every team but the Patriots. I mean, we'll talk about the Dolphins and the Bills with their expectations. But with that being said, what are your expectations and why is it over or under that 11.5 mark?
So, I mean, I'll run it through. I'll say who, and then everyone just says win or loss. Week 1, Buffalo. I have a loss.
Loss.
I have a win.
I got a win, too.
Okay, next week, Dallas. I have a win.
I'm going loss here.
Win.
I think they win this one, too.
Next week, New England. I have a win as well.
Win.
Win.
And win.
Kansas City, loss.
Yep.
Loss.
I'm going to go loss on this one.
Denver, win.
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 Win. Yep, win.
Then we got Philly. I'll go with a loss here.
Yep, big loss.
Yep. Loss.
I'm going win.
New York, Philly, big. Okay. Mark has win against Philly. New York, yeah. I have a loss here.
I got a win.
Yeah.
I'm going to go New York on this first one. I'm going to go win here.
Win? I'm going to take a loss.
Actually, I take that back. I'm going to go loss in the first one. I'm going to go loss in the first one, win on the second.
Fuck.
Or no, second. Just kidding.
And then the viewers, Luke is trying to take notes.
Luke's taking notes.
Try to tally up. So, is New York a loss for you, Doc?
Well, there's 2 New York teams.
God damn it. I'm taking Jets win.
Okay. Fuck.
Final answer. Jets win. Final answer. Jets win. Final answer.
You got 3 now.
Yep. Sorry.
All right.
Okay. Chargers next week. I have a win here.
Loss.
Win.
I have a loss here.
And I have a loss.
Las Vegas. I have a win.
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 Buffalo. I think they get swept. Loss.
Yeah, Buffalo. It's going to be a loss.
I have a loss at Buffalo.
And then next week, Miami. I have a loss here.
Miami at home, I'm going to give them a win.
Okay.
Win as well, Luke.
Yeah, I'm going win too.
Next week, Atlanta. I have a win here.
No brainer. That's an absolute blowout win.
Yeah, I got to blow out too.
Yeah, but win.
Mark's like, yeah, even I got him 40-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a win.
Following week, CJ Stroud with Houston. I have a win here.
I have a win as well.
Win across the board.
I think they split with Miami, so at Miami I have a loss.
Same loss at Miami.
Yep, same loss in Miami. Splitting.
Didn't you have them? You had them beat or losing Miami the first time.
Okay, so then I'll give them a win here.
I have a win. I'm sorry, Luke. I have a loss.
Well, my count's all fucked up. You guys gotta make up your mind.
I have them winning against Miami. That's what I meant.
All right, I have lost. I'm at 4 losses.
Right.
I have lost at Miami.
Okay, and then I have Washington. I have a win here.
Win.
I will also take a win with that.
Win. I got a win.
At Cleveland, I have a win.
Mark, was that a win for you or no?
Yeah, I have a win for Washington. I'm at 4 losses total. I'm counting mine.
Oh, you can count your own? That's fine.
I just because I know it's gonna be on one hand, so I have them losing at Cleveland. I think Cleveland's gonna be a sleeper team this year.
I also have them losing to Cleveland.
I have them beating Cleveland.
Yeah, I think they beat Cleveland too.
And then at New England, win.
I have them splitting against New England. I have a what did I say? I have a loss here.
I have them at 12-5, Luke.
January 7th in New England. I'm gonna go loss on that one. That's gonna be an upset.
2, 3.
So it sounds like I'm the only one over at 11.5. So I can just tell right now, you guys have a lot of losses there. I mean, you guys have them splitting with the division, it seemed like. So they're 3-3 right there. There's 3 losses for the New York Jets. Chris also has them losing against the Giants. That's 4. Also had them losing against the Chiefs. That's 5.
Yeah.
Right there's 12-5.
Chris has them at 10. Doc has 8. I have 11.
Yeah.
8. They go up 1 win from yeah. Hey, but that's your over under in June.
That's a tough
June
schedule
19th,
though.
So.
That's a tough schedule.
The whole AFC
schedule.
But think about it, they have the easiest schedule out of the remaining 3 teams because they were last.
And there's so much more that goes into that, right? Like we said, a loss in Miami, or I said a loss in Miami. Is Tua even going to be here for that? Let's be real.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
anything can happen.
Speaking of another team in the AFC East, we'll move on. So that's what you guys have. You guys have under. I have over. The New England Patriots.
Expect to be that under.
The New England Patriots, who finished at 8-9 last year, and I think one of the bigger storylines is they have the returning offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien. Chris, does Bob help turn that offense around, get them at least average to above average, help Mac Jones as well, even though they have a little bit of a lack of weapon problems? Can Bill O'Brien help lead this offense?
I mean, what I saw out of Bob last year with Alabama, I just don't think he can turn it around. I mean, he definitely had way better talent on that Alabama team last year than he does on this Patriots team this year with just offensive weapons. I mean, I really had high hopes for Kayshon Boutte. I thought he's going to be a little sleeper. But, I mean, news report earlier came out that they're not very happy with him this offseason. So, and then they got Juju. I mean, the drama around him. I don't think Bob's going to be able to turn it around.
And Luke, something to think about, Bob over there, Bill O'Brien, does not have a DeAndre Hopkins like he had in Houston with Deshaun Watson. He doesn't have Tom Brady like he had the first time in New England. And like Chris said, he's on Alabama. He's in New England with no receivers and just average-ass Mac Jones. Can he do it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if anything, it's going to be a prove-it year for him to see if he can actually be an offensive coordinator at the NFL level with average talent at the NFL level. Like, I don't like any of their additions, really. No big names. Like, Mike Gesicki's pretty good, but he's not an all-star tight end. Juju's on his 3rd team in, 5 years in the NFL, 6 years in the NFL? So, it's, none of these teams, none of these players, wow me in any way that I think they're going to do well. They also took out, they lost some Jonnu Smith, Nelson Aguilar. So, I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, Doc, is this team going to be solely based on the defense, or can Bill turn that? Or not Bill Belichick, but Bill O'Brien turn this offense around?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the team is going to be solely based on the defense. I don't think that Bill O'Brien. I mean, there's nothing to turn around. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to work with. I mean, you had Juju Smith Schuster, but you lost Jacoby Myers. I mean, in my opinion, with what Juju's put up in the last couple of years, it's a pretty even swap, in my opinion. Good on them for filling that hole, but, if they put him alongside Jacoby Myers, maybe we're talking something, but I just don't think there's enough weapons in the offense. The defense, I think, is still going to be pretty good. I think it's gonna be the backbone of the team, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get into the playoffs.
And with that, Chris and Luke,
real quick on the offense stuff, I mean, I think one of the big things to look out this offseason is Judon posted a picture with D-Hop, and then he also said that their GM's the best GM in the league. So, I mean, questions stirring around there is if D-Hop's going to land in New England. And then we had a report today that's saying Cook wants to play with D-Hop. So, I mean, is D-Hop going to the Patriots and then they'd be able to snag Cook in the backfield? I mean, that would definitely change up.
That is something that would greatly change my outlook for the Patriots.
Well, I mean, the Patriots already have a good running back with Stevenson, so I think that's the best thing to have on the offense is the running back. So
I still think Stevenson's that good. Yeah, he had a good season, but I don't think he's be that long-term back for them. If they pair Stevenson with Cook, that changes things.
Oh, but
and Stevenson will take a backdoor to Cook.
I mean, hasn't he only been in the year 1 or 2 years though? I'm just saying,
he blew up last year, but
but
either way, they get Cook. Stevenson's going to take a back seat.
But Doc made a good point though. Let's just say that this team is on the offensive side is just at least average, or maybe barely above average. Can this defense be that backbone and actually push them into the playoffs? We saw it in 2021 when the offense wasn't that good. We even saw it the COVID year when the defense was actually helping the offense win games. Can that defense, which was 8th last year and 11th in scoring, can it still help push the Patriots over the top, Luke?
No, I don't think so. They lost a couple pieces on defense. I do like Matt Judon, so their pass rush is still going to be there. Matt Judon was a beast last year. He's been a beast the last 5-6 years he's been in the NFL.
Yeah. And then I have a good headline too, and I don't think anyone's talking about it. We talk about all these hot seats and things like that. Like I said, we've seen it now. It's been 3 years, 3 full seasons since Tom Brady left New England. Belichick made the playoffs once. Brady made the playoffs all 3 years he was there, won a Super Bowl his first year. Is it time for Bill to retire from the Patriots as the GM and the head coach and just finally hang it up? I mean, if he can't get it done, how much more longer are we going to have this effect? It's like the Popovich of San Antonio right now. How much longer can Bill keep bringing this team to average or below average? Doc?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's really a hot seat. It's going to be a mutual split if it does happen, but I think it's definitely time, with Tom Brady gone and the image of that team for since the start has been Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And I think that, now with Tom gone and kind of restructuring, rebuilding that team in a way, I think it's time to pass the reins off and let somebody else get a crack at it.
Yeah, Chris, should Robert Kraft pull that trigger? Because it's, like I said, Belichick's the GM. He's not going to fire himself. It's got to come up from the owner. Does Robert Kraft finally need to pull that trigger and tell Bill, dude, thanks for the years, but enough's enough?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I don't think Bill's ever going to be in the hot seat. I mean, he's definitely going to be one of the greatest coaches that's ever coached the NFL level. I mean, I don't know if the owner should pull the trigger just yet, maybe give him a couple more years. But, I mean, at that point, is Bill just going to be done with the game of football?
I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe he could just be the GM, Luke. Maybe he can just be the sole general manager and just let someone else coach the game. Maybe that's the route he could take too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Doc here. I don't think Bill will ever be on the hot seat. If he does leave, it's going to be a mutual split, or he's going to retire. I mean, coming off losing Tom Brady, it's going to be hard to replace in the first place. I mean, Patriots never really had that good of an offensive lineup in the first place, even with Brady. So they never had a really all-star. Yeah, they had Randy Moss and on the back half of his career, and they had Gronk in his prime. But other than that, they haven't had those all-star wide receivers. So losing Brady really hurts him, and going to Mac Jones, who's an average at best quarterback. He's doing probably what best he can with what he's got on that team.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was Brady running the offense with Bill O'Brien and Josh McDaniels when they were the offense coordinators and Charlie Weiss. But Belichick was running that defense, and he still has his imprint on that defense. And I believe the expectations is 7.5 this year, over under for them. They said they were 8-9 last year. They find ways to still win games, and we don't think they can win games. So with that, let's run through their schedule and let's see what our over-under is right here. Like I said, one of the tougher schedules in the AFC East is all four of these teams. They have a very, very tough schedule. So, Chris, read it off. What we got looking on.
Oh, we're going 3-1?
Philadelphia week 1.
Loss.
Miami week 2.
Loss.
At New York Jets.
I don't remember what the fuck I said for New York.
Yeah, I think I have a.
You said them split.
I didn't think we were doing these for all teams. I thought we were just doing this for the Jets. I'm under either way.
I'm under, yeah. I think they'll have a win against them. I think a win against the Raiders, possibly, maybe the Commanders, maybe the Colts. That's 3.
But the Commanders are one of those sneaky defensive teams that might come through and do something. They did it all year last year.
I think the Patriots win 5 games, like at the most, and that's. I don't think I'm going to put them as 5 wins if I tell you their schedule, but they probably will sneak some ones they shouldn't win.
I'll take them over Indy and Pittsburgh. I know that.
Oh no, I think Pittsburgh's going to be competitive this year. I think that offense is going to be a little better, and the defense is still the defense. I don't trust New England at all. I think they're dog shit. I don't
even know if they're beating Las Vegas, honestly. I mean, with the car 2.0 in there, with the hatchback that they got going in Las Vegas, I don't know. I think that that they can drop that.
I got about like 5 wins here. I think they split one with the Jets. I mean, they win Las Vegas, they win Washington, Indy, then Pittsburgh. I think they pull out a dub, and then Denver. I just don't. I think Denver is going to be in sync at the end of the year with Sean Payton there. They're going to lose that.
I got them losing Denver.
Yeah, Luke. Before you jump in here, just check your screen there. But you're looking at the schedule. Before you start to talk, what do you think you have the Patriots doing here?
Yeah, I have them going to be taking the under as well. I think so. They're going to start the season 0-3, probably 0-4 actually. And
0-5.
0-5.
No,
I'll be starting out 0-18, 0-17.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I think they get a win over New Orleans, win over Vegas, loss to Buffalo, loss to Miami, beat Washington, lose the Colts, lose to New York, lose to Los Angeles, lose to Pittsburgh.
We had to have one run through the entire fucking schedule here.
Yeah, how about this hot take? The New England Patriots will have a top 2 draft pick when it's all said and done going to 2024 for the draft.
I'll give them a top 5.
Yeah, top 5.
So with that being said, that's going to be the Dynasty's over. Like I said, we're done with the Dynasty. It's done.
And that's why I say they need to rebrand. It's not about Bill being on the hot seat for not making the playoffs. Let him run the GM, but that's why they need to just change the image, rush out a new culture, like roll it out and move on. You got to let go of Tom Brady, and part of letting go of that is letting go of Bill Belichick. As long as you got Bill at the helm, man, you're always holding on. You're holding on to old pieces, and it just you're in that like weird cycle of never really building and just kind of staying mediocre.
And that's the problem, Doc. I don't like this. I'm not going to say this about every person, but a lot of older people in the older generation, they don't like change. Andy Reid shows that he can make change. He traded up for Patrick Mahomes. He got a newer style quarterback, got out of the Alex Smith days, even the old Don McNabb days, which is similar to Patty Mahomes, honestly. But he got out of the Alex Smith days, and he was able to make change. Like he realized his ego is not as big as Bill Belichick, and that's the problem. If you can't change it, Robert Kraft has to pull it, and he has to say, Bill, I'm sorry, you did great for us, but you're done.
I think they need a real kick in the nuts this year to finally get Kraft to come down and say, hey man, look, like we're not shunning you. Let's make this amicable. You know, focus on the GM. Let's do that. Focus on the GM. Yeah. It's time to usher in a new crowd.
Yeah, pull the Bruce Arians card and move yourself into an off the field position, and put fucking Bill Zappi in.
Bailey Zappi.
I like it.
Bailey Zappi.
But
that's how relevant he is.
Speaking of moving on, like I said, hopefully the Patriots can move on and get a new coach in there. We're going to move on to the team that's finished 9-8 the last 2 seasons as they were a wild card team, pushed the Buffalo Bills in the wild card round with Skylar Thompson, the Miami Dolphins. And the question is, boys, we talked about the Jets being all hype. Are the Miami Dolphins all hype after adding Jalen Ramsey to this spectacular team on paper? Are the Dolphins overhyped?
No, I think they're kind of like right where they need to be. It depends on how Tua, like if he gets concussions again this season. I mean, as long as he can like throw the ball a little bit, he'll hit either Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill somewhere. I mean, he kind of I think Tua is a limiting factor for the Miami offense just because his arm strength and his injury. He's injury prone, getting all these concussions. So if Tua is healthy and he can start slinging the ball a little better, I think Miami would be right where they need to be at the end of the season. They'll make the playoffs and probably can be competitive, but I don't think they make it deep.
Doc, is it all on Tua, man? Is like I said, I mean, I thought he did good last year in the games he was there. I mean, he definitely doesn't have the arm strength to reach Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle's speed, but they had great chemistry last year, and when he was playing, they were balling. Is it on Tua? If Tua can stay healthy, can they make that push?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of it relies on Tua and that health because another concussion. I mean, he already talked about, he contemplated retiring after all the concussion stuff last season. I think that he is a big part of it. Nice thing about Miami is, you've got the weapons that are that good that you can almost plug and play with a quarterback in a way, but not quite to that extent. But I think even with Tua, though, I think a lot still falls in the run game. I mean, Miami was 27th in the league last year in yards per game for rushing. I mean, and it can't be Tua running the ball. It's got to be the run game's got to step up. The blockers got to step up and make the hole. I think like a lot of the pieces were kind of there last year, but they didn't like come together at the same time. And the scheme just didn't really seem to fit at times for me, but still dealing with the fallout with the previous season, with the change in head coach and all the scandals and everything else going around, the Tom Brady meddling thing. I think now it's kind of everything's behind us. Let's move on. Let's be a team and let's play. But I think adding Jalen Ramsey is a big move. I'm excited to see this team. I think they're going to turn it up this year. I'm not saying Super Bowl contender or deep playoff run, but I think in the division, I think you're going to see a much different Miami team that's going to make it very exciting to watch.
And Chris, he mentioned Jalen Ramsey. They added Vic Fangio, a guy that you loved. We thought was going to pair with Sean Payton this year. But does Vic Fangio and Jalen Ramsey? Does he help turn this defense around? Who last year they got sacks, which is great. Defense, you want teams that produce sacks and you want teams that produce turnovers. And that was the problem, Chris. Miami was tied for 30th in turnovers. Can Fangio and Jalen Ramsey turn this defense around where it could pair with this electric offense?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins season is going to ride on both these coaches, Fangio and Mike McDaniels. I mean, their offense, just start with that. People started figuring out that offense at halfway through the season, and Mike McDaniels wasn't changing anything about it and just rolling with it. And then Nick Fangio, I'm excited to see, outstanding defensive coach. And I think he gets in there and he turns this defense around to be even better what they were last year. I think the Dolphins win this division easily.
Dolphins will have the best defense, Chris, in the NFL? Or one of them at least?
They'll be up there, yeah. I think at least a top 5 defense.
So look at that, boys. Chris has got two divisions so far. He's got 2 new division winners with the Giants and the Dolphins. The man is changing teams around. Doc, Dolphins winning the division, though?
It is honestly, it's tough right now. It is a toss-up between them and the Bills. I almost want to say Dolphins because they do have more weapons. A lot of question marks for me with Mike McDaniel, but Vic Fangio coming in, I mean, obviously longtime Bears fan, seeing him as a defensive coordinator in Chicago and what he can do and how he took some kind of mediocre guys and made them absolute studs. We're talking the likes of like Nathan Vasher kind of guys. So definitely the right guy in the job to turn this defense around and make them elite. So like I said, going to be interesting to see him step up and compete in this division. I'm kind of torn between the two, but I'm going to go with Chris on this one, and I'm going to call my hot take for the division. I'm going to say the Dolphins win it.
What you got going on there, Luke?
No. So I have Miami finishing 3rd in the division. So I don't think they have what it takes. Yeah,
folks,
it's hard.
Luke doesn't actually watch football, folks.
I do watch football.
Watches Lamar.
Yeah. I need to watch Lamar, but no, I don't think Miami's able to finish a full season. And so just having that, I don't think Miami's going to be able to compete with Buffalo and New York Jets. I think Miami's going to fall just behind the Jets and the standings for their AFC South.
Just remember we shot Skyler last year.
Yeah, get those sirens go buzzing, Luke, because me and you agree for once. It seems like, man. I mean,
yeah,
I do think Miami's going to be 3rd place, but hey, you can have 3. You can even have 4 teams in the playoffs. But this case, I do think you'll get 3 teams possibly in the playoffs of the AFC East. I don't think the Dolphins, even if Tua is healthy, I don't think that they're going to meet that over-under, which is 11.5. I think they're going to be barely under. I'm thinking 9 or 10. But they said they were 9-8 last year and made the wild card. So it's very doable to do that. That's my expectations of the Dolphins. I got them under 11.5. I do think, like I said, it's a tough schedule. Can Tua and them make these primetime games? I mean, I know Tua hasn't played in many primetime games. I don't think the lights are going to be too big for him. I just don't think they're going to be that good compared to the hype that they're getting. That's why I said they're all hype, ? And they are all hype to me. Boys, what you guys thinking about your over-unders?
I mean, it might be a hot take, or Doc might agree with me. I have them winning 14 games.
Can you don't run the schedule? Can you just tell me who your 3 losses are?
My 3 losses, I think they split with Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins at Buffalo. I think they lose against Kansas City. And then
Philly's going to be a shootout. Philly's going to be a shootout.
My third loss, I think, is Philly.
I hate to say, if Lamar Jackson's healthy, can they go into cold Baltimore and win in the? They're a warm team. I think even the Chargers could beat them week 1. I'm just saying, Herbert and them start off hot normally. So I mean, I don't know.
Listen. Lamar's going to be in the bathroom watching this fucking game. Okay.
This is about that time. This is about that time. That Baltimore game is solely on Lamar.
Yeah, and that's the thing if Lamar's healthy. I mean, that's a tough schedule.
I'm going a loss in Buffalo, losing to Philly, losing to Kansas City. I want to give the Jets 1. I think I do have the Jets taking 1. That's 4, and I'm going to give Baltimore as 5. So I'm going to take them 12-5. I'm going with the over.
Luke, I know you're under, right?
Yeah, I have them at 10 wins. So,
which is not bad. I mean, that's going to get them in the playoffs with 10 wins. So.
10 wins is a good season. And I think they make the wild card with 10 wins.
But the problem is Miami hasn't won a playoff game in God knows when. I mean, I think they're the second longest streak behind the Detroit Lions. So, I mean, can they finally live up to that spotlight that they have all those weapons? That's the key to the Dolphins this year. Can they finally produce? So, yeah, you guys, God, I mean, Doc has a new division winner too. Has the Jet or the Dolphins. I have the Jets. So I mean, right now through 2 divisions, I have 1. Chris has 2, and you maybe you have 1. Luke, we don't know yet. We're gonna dive into that right now. Because lastly but not least, the reigning 3-time AFC East champion, the Buffalo Bills, and this crazy dynasty that everyone thought they were gonna have, is their window closing, or has it already started to close big time? They have a lot of drama with Stephon Diggs. Cleared out his locker room and left late or pretty early last year after the game. I know he showed up to 1 voluntary workout, which seems like a lot of people in Buffalo had a problem. Even Josh Allen said it's not for everyone. I mean, is the drama going to be too much for the Buffalo Bills, Chris?
I mean, it's all about Diggs. I mean, him and Josh Allen got in a fight at the very end of the season, and then he cleared out his locker. I mean, Diggs is really their only true wide receiver 1. I mean, you got Davis back there, but he just wants to – he's a long ball, so you're hoping for that. I mean, they didn't really draft any offensive weapons except for that tight end. So, I mean, really –
and even that is
exactly. That's why I'm placing the Dolphins ahead of them, just because of the offensive weapons.
Yeah, is that the problem, Doc? Is the lackluster weapons outside Stephon Diggs going to be an issue in Buffalo?
100%. And even with Stephon Diggs, I mean, you look at the target issues last season and what was going on between him and Josh Allen and the animosity between the two of them right now. I mean, it's going to continue to progress to be a problem because as the games go on, no matter what happens, I mean, Stephon, his mindset right now is he's just going to assume that this is on purpose or they're trying to make him look bad or whatever else. And he's just going to eat it himself. It's just going to dig a deeper hole for this team. But the lack of weapons, this is a team that needed a wide receiver, and they went with a tight end in the first round. I don't think that was the move, especially with a couple of pretty solid tight ends on the market that would have easily filled that hole in free agency. But, yeah, the lack of weapons in the receiving side, lost a couple of pieces on defense. I don't know if I want to say the window is closing because they are still a solid team. I think Josh Allen is still good. the window can definitely open right back up as soon as they get pieces to help him be successful.
Speaking
We're
of that
still waiting
window
on that
opening,
D-Hop
Luke,
answer.
that's what I was about to ask that, Luke. If that window opens, can they get D-Hop? Can that open the window even bigger for them?
Yeah, I mean, if they pair D-Hop with Stephon Diggs, that offense should be fucking ridiculous. Like having 2 All-Pro wide receivers paired up next to each other and Gabe Davis as the third, that's going to be a very tough wide receiver core to cover.
Yeah, I agree with you. The question is, does Stephon Diggs' ego, can that stay in check? Because he likes to get all the
Now
balls
with D-Hop
thrown to
coming.
him. Exactly. So will that cause more drama? I mean, that's something to think about, honestly.
I think might understand like who D-Hop is and like be okay with it. I mean, he might be upset that he's not getting as many targets, but he understands that D-Hop's going to garner that attention too from Josh Allen.
And
I don't think so.
Diggs just got the fucking paycheck. Like, fucking man up. It's a team sport.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
He's not looking at it that way. He was bitching strictly about targets last year, and if D-Hop comes in, it's going to take away from him. Gabe Davis is still going to get some. Stephon Diggs is going to get in his own head. We're going to see a walk out in the middle of some Antonio Brown type shit, taking his uniform and pads off in the end zone on the sideline before he storms out.
That's been his memo. He was the same way in Minnesota when he had a prime Adam Thielen. He quit.
Yeah.
He didn't quit on the team, but he said, "I'm done. Get me out of here after the season." So, like,
yeah,
we've seen this. It's been his memo.
And especially if the Bills struggle through the first half of the season, I don't think it's out of line to think that a trade is coming for Stephon Diggs.
And Chris, I have a question for you and Luke as well. I know because we talk a lot of Josh Allen, Doc, so that's why this is kind of meant for them too, real quick. Josh Allen the last 2 years had 14 and 15 interceptions. Are we praising Josh Allen too much, or is he a little overhyped with that? Because I know maybe he feels like he has to do too much because he doesn't have that type of talent that he has, like, you know, Joe Burrow or Patty's had in the past with Tyreek. Is Josh Allen overhyped, or is he just doing too much because he has to?
I mean, he's the Madden cover. Is he really overhyped?
I mean, Peyton Hill's got it, so yeah, you could be overhyped.
I don't think he is. I saw a couple of those turnovers last season, and some of them were just bad touches by the wide receivers, batted balls. I mean, it's not solely on him with his interceptions. I mean, there definitely needs to be some improvement, but if you're putting up 30, 40 touchdowns in a season, I mean, 15 and 14 is kind of high, but it's not the worst in the league. I mean, it's not Jay Cutler numbers.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's Winston numbers.
It's not Winston numbers. That's for damn sure.
He's also got one of the top defenses in the NFL to bail him out for his turnovers as well. So he's probably doing too much on the offensive side, but he's being bailed out by his defense either way.
Yeah, how many of those turnovers were points?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't look on to that part. I just know it's still 29 in the last 2 years.
Damn it, Mark.
Too high. But speaking of that defense, like Luke says, they are replacing Leslie Frazier, who was their defense coordinator. Reports are from Michael Lombardi. He says that the year that they were in the AFC divisional game against them with that 13 seconds left before they tied it to go to overtime, Sean McDermott decided to call the plays, which you saw what happened. It led to that game-tying field goal. He also called plays at the end of last year when defense started to crumble. Is this an underrated storyline that we're missing? Replacing Leslie Frazier with a coach that's calling, one side of the ball, it doesn't typically work that well, where you have to manage the whole team and call plays. Is this an underlying story that, hey, the defense might not be the best defense in the league anymore, Doc?
I mean, it's hard to say. I don't think that this is the best defense in the league. I'm not saying they're not good, but I don't think it's the best defense in the league. But as far as the, head coach coming out, Sean McDermott, and taking over the play calling, I mean, that just might be him reaching and trying to do too much and like, hey, trust the guys that you hired. Let them do their job. Trust that everything is going to come to play, and stick to what you do best. When you find success, even if you come up just short in the postseason, when you find success all season long, making drastic changes is not what's going to fix it for you.
Yeah, Chris, you think that this is kind of a big story that we're not talking about?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's tough because they're not giving Josh Allen the weapons he needs. Like we've been reiterating about the offense, about what they did in the first round. They drafted a tight end when they could have got one of the higher up wide receivers. And so, I mean, they're not trying to get those offensive weapons. I mean, it'd be huge if D-Hop goes there. But like we said, Diggs going to be even more pissed off.
Yeah. And Luke, the over-under that's what I want to hear because we were talking about it. The Jets and for us, Jets Bills are who we're thinking is going to be 1-2. Over-under 12.5 for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the over on this. I have them with 3 losses.
Sorry. Wrong one.
Oh, there it is.
My bad.
Yeah, but
Just
I got
basking in the glory.
I got them at 3 losses, so I got them losing to the Jags, going over the pond, playing the Jaguars home field over there in England or London, wherever stadium they're playing in this time. They got them losing to Kansas City and the Eagles. I think the Bengals might be a toss-up game for them, but I think the Bills might be able to pull that one off.
Chris, you're over-under for the Jets or for the Bills?
I'm under, but I'm at 12 wins.
Okay,
so half game.
Yeah, so second place in the AFC East for you, Doc.
I'm definitely going splitting with Miami. Lost to Kansas City. Lost to Philly. Lost to Cincinnati is 4. And then I think Jacksonville or Chargers. Yeah, I'm going to put them at 12.
Yeah, I have them at 12 or 11 as well, and 12 can be tied with the Jets, so you can still win the division with the Jets. So, yeah, that's your AFC East, boys. I think it's going to be one of the tougher divisions this year. I know the AFC West got the same treatment last year. I think this is what the AFC East is getting this year, is the same kind of treatment.
It is going to be a very, very exciting division to watch all season long. Definitely a lot of good moves made.
Finally,
except for the Bills, but
it's good to see the AFC East competitive after all those years. The Patriots dominate, and then the Bills the last really 3 years too. So it's good to see now every team.
Yeah, I think this is open for pretty much any team except the Patriots to win it. Any 3 of these teams can get hot and take the division if they really want to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, except for the Jets. I have the Jets with a wild card spot, if anything. I don't see them taking the division.
You had them at 8 wins, so there's no way they're getting a wild card spot 8 and 9. So
no. But I'm saying that injuries play a part. If the Jets can step it up and put everything together, I can see them taking a wild card spot. I do not see them taking the division. I can see them playing a little bit better.
That week 1 game is going to be fucking huge. The Jets at Jets against Buffalo. I mean,
9-11.
On 9-11, so
that's going to set the pace for. Yeah, that's going to set the pace for both of them.
That's our second episode of the division breakdown. Next episode, we covering the NFC North. So get ready for the Vikings, Lions, Bears, and Packers. Oh my! Hey, and we didn't get to address to start the show since Chris reminded me with that 28-3 lead. Congratulations on Wake Forest as they beat LSU in the College World Series. Give it up to the ACC dominant team right there, Wake Forest. Demon Deacons, go baby, go! We're rooting for you guys in the Sack House. Go Wake Forest, represent us strong here. But let's move on. Bradley Beal heading to the Phoenix Suns to pair with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Chris Paul is out of there, going to the Wizards, probably going to get a buyout. But, Doc, you're the other NBA pundit in here out of the rest of us. Are we not talking about this enough that Kevin Durant just seems to be getting all these super teams, more than LeBron James, honestly? Is it time for Kevin Durant to shut up and put up?
Dude, it's time for Kevin Durant to show that he can be the winner on a fucking team. This is a guy, look, even I would say he's done this worse than LeBron at this point. I mean, I never respected his move to Golden State. I understand the personal reason of wanting to win a championship, but every other step along the way of his career, he just hasn't been able to put it together. And this guy's just going to continue to try to build these super teams well beyond what LeBron James did. I mean, I don't respect either of them, but yeah, dude, this is getting old. Like, get better or get out. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop making excuses.
And what sucks is the league is starting to get away from these super teams, it seems like, but it just seems like it's Kevin Durant only really still following that. I need a trio and, not just a duo. So, I mean,
yeah, because he's desperate to win.
Yeah. Even though he says the winning's not everything anymore to him. Since
that's bullshit. That's bullshit. The guy can't do it on his own.
Yeah. And speaking of winning, Chris, we also got Draymond Green, who opted out. He's a winner, 4-time champion. Is this big for the Warriors? Is he going to accept maybe a minimum contract with the Warriors, or is he going to go for a bigger contract somewhere else?
I mean, I think he's going to go for a bigger contract. I mean, he's getting up there in age. He's going to want the money.
Yeah,
nobody's opting out to take a minimum contract.
Yeah.
The problem is anyone going to pay him that higher contract he wants? He's an older star in the league. So, yeah, well, I wouldn't say he's a star anymore. He's just a big name that, still gets that attention.
How old is he now?
But I don't know his age, but he plays old. I do know he's as old as like Steph and Clay. They've been around the same time. That's like mid-30s. So, and he's
might have been a mutual thing too, just to get him out of that big contract and trying to get him into a lesser role. Like, hey, either this or you're going to be moved. Maybe he does take that lesser, lesser pay for the lesser role, but might just be trying to figure out if he's not stepping up or not doing something else. I don't know that he's going to get paid somewhere else as much, as that $27 million. But I mean, I don't know. Contracts max right now is like 52 million, some shit like that. So
huge, man. The NBA is filthy.
Right? Yeah. So there's a very good chance he finds more than 27 million a year for at least a 2-year strike somewhere. Who knows? Maybe Phoenix.
Yeah. Or maybe the Los Angeles Lakers would pair him with LeBron. I think the Lakers, I do think he could fit with the Lakers, honestly. Luke, I know you said you gave golf up. I hope you watched this weekend. I mean, Wyndham Clark, great story, by the way. Dude lost his mother, I believe, to breast cancer 10 years ago. Almost
quit golf. That is an awful way to start that.
Well, let me tell you the story real quick.
Jesus Christ.
Dude lost his mother 10 years ago. Almost gave up the game of golf completely. He said, "No, I'm not going to do it. Mom wouldn't want me to do that." 10 years later, made his first cut in the U.S. Open. He did win earlier as well. He's now the 13th ranked player. The dude won it 10 years after his mom passed away. Pretty good story for Wyndham Clark as he beat Ricky Fowler, who's the Atlanta Falcons of golf, and Rory McIlroy, the face of PGA at the moment. Huge win, I believe, for this kid.
Yeah. So I didn't watch it. I'm still on my PGA boycott. I know PGA players are playing in the U.S. Open, so I just decided not to watch it.
But great story, though, right? I mean, yeah, it's a great story.
Yeah, good for him. But no, I'm not watching PGA players play.
Well, I mean, the PGA is not the players aren't the problem; it's the commissioner.
The players are playing, so I didn't watch it. I can't.
Players aren't the problem. No, the players are playing. I ain't watching it.
I can't watch the commissioner, so I got to not watch the players.
Well, I think it's a great story. Ricky Fowler, though, I hate to say it, you are, like I said, the Atlanta Falcons of golf. You're usually great.
Chris, can we pull that up one more time? Can we get a Photoshop of like Ricky Fowler, his standing before and after that final round? We got to put something together for that.
Homework. You do it for homework. Bring it in for the next episode, Chris. Though a story that.
Oh, we'd love to see it.
Hey, can you also pull up the one? I forgot what year it was. I believe it was the 2017 playoffs, so 2018 when the Vikings were down 24-23, and can you get that picture of Kirk Cousins slinging that ball to Stephon Diggs, by the way, and your safety running over the corner? Yeah, pull it up for the next episode too. That's pretty embarrassing.
If we could also get Matt Ryan, legendary Falcon Matt Ryan, blowing that 70-point lead for the Colts last season, that would also be great. Was that against Minnesota?
Hey, Doc, I would ask you to find historic Bear stuff in this current generation we're in.
Walter Payton.
The Bear, I said our current generation.
Okay.
Maybe like this century in the last 22 years. I don't think
the picture has
Bears,
color.
Yeah, because the Bears.
We blew our own Super Bowl. We just didn't blow it as bad as you. All right.
Or get that picture of you guys getting the only kickoff return history in the start of a game, and then you guys fell apart after that. Or Jay Cutler riding the bike in the NFC Championship against Aaron Rodgers.
We didn't fall. Fuck you.
Your daddy, by the way.
We didn't fall apart after that, all right? I'll give you a stat if you want to put it up on the screen, but we didn't fall apart after that game. We were never a fucking team after that game because Rex Grossman was back in it, okay?
Hey, we
had the
up 7-0 is all I know.
Yeah, there was nothing to fall apart, but if you want to put up a fucking stat, all right, why don't you go ahead and throw up Jay Cutler's touchdowns, interceptions versus the Packers, okay? And then we could throw up Aaron Rodgers' touchdown, interception versus the Bears. Okay, we could talk about a real stat because I know that I'm not a fucking idiot, all right? I'm a realist.
Let's move on to another guy that took the boot. We were talking about this. Bob Huggins from West Virginia, one of the longest tenured head coaches in college basketball, just stepped down. I know he had a racial slurring incident, like Chris said before the show, also had a DUI, and I'm pretty sure West Virginia said, yeah, either you're gone, we're firing you, or you're done. Chris, big news out there in West Virginia, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's huge news. He was a great college basketball coach. He had the incident a couple months ago with the racial slur. They let that one kind of slide, and then he got the DUI, and this was about the time West Virginia was like, hey, we're going to cut mutually or we're firing you.
Yeah, and I just think West Virginia is in an interesting situation. Football, they're getting ripped that they're going to be compared to the MAC conference. Now you have this basketball situation. Luke, West Virginia, man, they're a mess, man. They're in your conference, so hopefully the Big 12 can figure out with them.
Yeah, I mean, DUIs are a big thing at a level. So any career, it's going to ruin your life, unless you're like a country singer or something like that. Then DUIs are part of the game. But you make your company look bad, chances are you're probably going to get let go.
Yeah, and with letting go, boys, I think it's been a hell of a show. I really do. I think we covered a very good. I love the.
It's all good, man. I didn't have nothing to say about that last topic.
It was just time to sign off, Doc.
All,
hey, you had a big talking point. Hey, Chris didn't talk much about Conor McGregor, so hey, sometimes you gotta know what topics you want to talk about.
You gave him a chance. He gave him a chance. God damn it!
I just said, hey, should he be done? Because it was just wrapping up to a situation we want to go down. Wrong rabbit hole at the wrong time.
Welcome to the Sack House.
Yeah. So with that being said, hey, great episode, boys. AFC East was on fire today. I love the takes, Chris. You're firing them heat. You're firing, dude. Great topics today, my friend.
Thank you, Mark. It was great to be here in the Sack House with you and your balls.
Thank you. And Doc, speaking of balls, you talked very good about balls today. Great to have you in here. Hopefully we can get you in here one more time before that wedding, man.
Yeah, absolute pleasure always to be here. Got to see what the schedule's looking like. I'm not sure when I'm going to be ripping out of here, but we'll see.
And Luke, great to have you in here, man. Love having you guys all together. Luke, you did great today.
Oh, thanks. Always great to be in the Sack House.
Yeah, and we love all of you viewers and listeners out there in your Sack House listening to us, watching us on YouTube, however you want to listen and watch. Hey, feel free to do it any way you want. But with that being said, that is the wonderful, always colorful Nick the Doc Skirkwentz. That is Luke Rule, Mr. Inconsistent with his takes. That is Kriska Meinhardt. I'm your host, Mark Daves. Thank you for checking out another episode of All About the Balls podcast. We want to thank all of our listeners and supporters of the Sack House. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at the Sack House.